Welcome back to lesson 2 of online Zoom lessons. As I have mentioned earlier, we'll be going through pages 16 and onwards. This is when the wording of the questions can get a little bit tricky, and we want to make sure we can actually interpret the words and use the right numbers. Arguably, this might be the hardest. Harder than integral, harder than differentiation, whatever that might be. So let's get into it. Anyhow, now, in a practical sense, we're using loans and annuities, and we need to use the concept of present value to see how much money we can actually afford to pay, accounting for interest, and how much the loan would actually be worth considering that. You may have heard of the word borrowing power, etc., etc. That kind of takes how much money you make and how much interest you can afford to pay on top of the principal amount you'll be paying off the loan, blah, blah, blah. And then they do the calculation and say, oh, Mr. Kim, you can only borrow $20,000 because you make no money. Stuff like that, right? Now, example 1 here, Jenny and Peter are looking for a loan to buy a house. They have prepared a budget and have calculated that they can afford to pay $1,800 per month. Realistically, this is how that works, right? Oh, look, I'm trying to buy a house. I know I can save or spend or, make extra $1,800 a month. How much can I realistically borrow to buy a house? What the bank does is that, we're going to take this interest rate that we have, compounding monthly, R equals to 6% over 12, 0.5%, and I'm going to be looking at it for 20 years. That means it's going to be N equals to 20 years but 12 months per year, 240 months. Now, at this point, you're obviously looking at this guy. And all you're doing is, look, 1,800 is the contribution times the multiplier, always. As I have mentioned before, 139.5808. And you're going to get 1,800 times 139.5808 and $251,245.44. This is when critical thinking comes in handy. If you really think about it, right? The actual proper amount that this person will be paying will be $1,800 for 240 months, and what this person will be getting would be 1,800 times 240. And as we can see, this person's actually paying $432,000 over 20 years. But the loan that we can actually borrow is $251,000. So what does that mean? So what does that actually mean? The difference is interest. They're scamming you. Almost $200,000 worth is being taken as interest. If you have looked at some real estate out of the Instagram Reels or TikTok, I don't know if that actually pops up on your feed. It does for me. I'm reaching that age. It happens often where your repayments, your total of the repayments that this person has paid $1,800 for 20 years has actually spent $432,000, whereas the loan that we could actually get in the first place was $251,000. So you better hope your property has gone up in value, which is also a bad thing for the economy because, housing prices are going up faster than the wages. Capitalism much. Anyhow, question 2. To buy a car, John obtains a bank loan for $15,000 over 5 years at 7.2% per annum, compounding monthly. This is the value, and we're looking for the repayment. We're looking for the contribution. What did we remember? Present value equals to contribution times the multiplier, right? So now, because we have the $15,000 and we can find the multiplier, we just need to find the contribution, which means we'll have to divide M equals PV over multiplier. Sorry, if I'm being misleading, contribution I just refer to M. That's what I do. And also HSE typically likes that too. So 15,000 over I don't know, who cares? And I'm doing this for 5 times 12, that's gonna be 60. I'm still not bothered for this. I actually hate this topic so much. 50.2621. So that means it will become 15,000 divided by 50.2621. 298.44 approximately. We would rather overpay than underpay in this case, I guess, because we want to make sure we're paying it off, and we don't want to accrue more interest over time. The more we pay now, less interest it will accrue later. So this just means in order for me to borrow $15,000 for 5 years, I'm just going to be paying them back $298. But now here's the real question. How much am I actually paying in the whole time? Well, I know monthly repayment is $298.45, and I'm doing this for 60 periods. So that means total amount. Jesus, I have lost the plot, guys. I've been doing nothing. 60 times 298.45. I haven't been doing any financial maths. Can you guys hear that? 60 times 298.45. So now this person is actually paid $17,907 as opposed to $15,000. So only in 5 years, we've made $2,907 worth of interest. So you want to make sure if you're borrowing money from a bank, you're buying it for a good reason. If you're buying cars with a loan, you're the dumbest person ever. You're dumber than Mr. Kim. Okay? And Mr. Kim has lost $50,000 in stocks before. Not 50,000, 20,000. Jesus, I'm not that dumb. Interest equals present value, total amount minus the present value, which is 17,000 minus 15,000. So we can essentially see that present value literally just means how much is it worth before interest has been accrued, right? Before the growth is applied. In an investment sense, present value would be before growth, how much would it be worth? For a loan sense, before interest, how much is it actually worth? Okay? No one cares about this. I've checked the HSC syllabus as well, just to double check. Last time I saw it, I said, I don't think it's in the HSC. I'm fairly sure if I don't know it, it's probably not. I've double checked, it's not in the syllabus. Syllabus only asks you to use the recurrence relation, which is Vn plus 1 equals to Vn 1 plus R plus or minus D, whatever that is. That or the table. Those are the only things you'll have to worry about. So I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. Greg, what a sick name, borrows $290,000 to buy a home unit. So now that is the present value that we want to kind of refer to. The interest rate is 4.8% per annum, compounding monthly, which means R equals to 0.4%. And he agrees to repay the loan over 20 years, which means N equals 20 times 12, 240. Use the present value table to calculate the monthly repayment on the amount borrowed. This is pretty okay. We have the present value, and that equals to M times the multiplier. We'll just say K. And now that means if I'm looking for the monthly repayment, it's PV over K. I'm really not looking for this. 154.0933. 154.0933. 154.0933. Something like that. If I'm wrong, then who cares? Like, I'm not the one taking the HSC. By the way, how far away is HSC? Probably not a lot. Maybe like 100 days. Something like that. 154.0933. Something like that, you know, approximately. So, yeah, to borrow $290,000, we reckon we'll have to be spending about $1,900 a month to repay. The bank charges a management fee of $2.80 and loan protection insurance of $9.50 each month. What is the total monthly repayment he must make? Which just means 1881.98 plus 2.8 plus 9.5. Oh, by the way, banks will do that. They will make whatever bull crap excuse up to make you pay more money. Banks are scums of society. I'm sorry. I did not say that. If any of your family members by any chance work at a bank, I'm sorry. I apologize. I did not mean that. That was for a purely comedic purpose. And I had this on the whole time, by the way. I didn't mean it when I said it. There's a mortgage discharge fee of $350 after the loan is paid. They will make an excuse to make you pay, whatever. What is the total amount paid for the loan? Now, for every month, each month, I am paying $1894.28, and that means I'm going to, for total repayment, I'm going to be doing it for 240 months of that exact amount. And now the act is new. Do 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 do. That's how much I've paid. And now I'm just going to be adding $350 at the end. Therefore, 454,627.2 plus 350, and that's got to equal 454,977.2. Now, guys, just a little thinker. $290,000 loan. I'm sure over 20 years, that's fine. But you guys have paid $450,000 for a $290,000 loan. And sure, that could have been enough to purchase a home back in the days. You need this times 5. I'm not even joking. I wish I was, yeah, jeez. Society. Anyhow, you guys may have a go at this if you guys have any perchance questions. I've only had a few of you guys asking questions over the holidays. Hopefully that means you guys don't really need me. You guys are studying so hard. Hopefully you guys are studying. Should be okay. Now, we're going to take this slow. I'm just going to take a bit of a... do these questions together. Homeowners with the mortgage often make additional lump sum payments just because we want to make sure the compound interest doesn't actually kill us and make sure we are not paying additional $200,000 during the lifetime of the loan. Brad and Nadine take out a loan of $190,000 over 15 years at 8.4% per annum, compounding monthly. Their monthly repayment for this loan is $1,860. The total amount that they will repay, I'm actually not very worried about any of the... Actually, I'm worried about some of these. I'm not worried about these guys right now. I am worried about this and this. I'm going to be doing $1,860 for 15 years and 12 months each. 1860 times, I think it's 180, yep. 334,800. Yeah, so I'm borrowing $190,000 and I'm paying $334,000. Interest is a cost of money. It's a purely man-made concept. Question B. After 36 months of repaying the loan, the amount still owing is $168,386. Brad and Nadine inherit $50,000. Good for them. Which they decide to pay into their loan. How much is still owing after making this payment? This just means 168,386 minus 50,000. If you guys could inherit something, make use of that. It's a rough society nowadays. Rough economy and everything. If they continue to pay off the loan at 1860 each month, it will take them another 7 years to repay the loan completely. How much do they save by making the lump sum payment? Now, this is when we need to consider how much this couple has paid during the lifetime of the loan. Now, they said 1860 each month, it will take another 7 years, right? Fortunately, they did that for us. 7 times 12, which just means 84. So they have paid $156,240, which is, like, comparatively okay. 40,000 interest. That's not as bad as what it was before. This is not entirely enough, because we need to also remember that they have been paying for 36 months as well before that. So we need to also add with total repayment is 36 times 1860 plus 156,240. $223. I wish. That much. So now the comparison is that they would have paid $334,800, but as opposed to that, because we've made a $50,000 extra repayment earlier, how much is the total repayment actually worth? The diff, well, actually the savings. We saved 33,4,800 minus 223,200. $111,600 saved from a $50,000 lump sum payment. Yeah, I think it checks out. Yeah, more than double. Yeah, I mean, like, well, I'm just gonna assume they did the right thing. Yeah, but yeah, in this case, we've saved $111,000. So what we had to do is that when the question asks me how much did they save, we're comparing with how much we actually would have been repaid. And we're just comparing with how much we would have spent after. Yeah, okay, I'm going to assume what they said is correct. Anyhow, this is the couple of the last pages that we have to worry about here, okay? Superannuation. The regular payment into a superannuation fund is an example of an annuity. We have an amount of money. Your employer should pay you. Unless you're a sole trader, you'll pay yourself. Hopefully you're paying yourself. You put in the money, it goes up, you pin the money, and keeps going up as well. You don't want it to get to zero. You want it to just keep going up. They will sometimes give you a bit of a table to refer to, and you'll just keep compounding it one step at a time. Mikhail is aged 60 and is planning to retire at 65 years of age. His current super fund has a balance of $500,000 and is delivering 7% per annum compound interest. I wish I had $500,000. Mikhail, Michael, Mikey, Mickey. Oh. Mickey is making a payment of $20,000 each year into his superannuation fund. Table for this annuity is shown below. What are the values of A, B, and C? Now, if we can see here, we're earning 7% interest from the balance of annuity of the year before. If you want to double check, you can always say, oh, what's 0.07 of 555,000? Oh, I was going to say, it's terribly wrong. And that seems to check out with 555,000. Okay? We are not worried about the payment received right now. The interest is only earned from the previous year's balance. Okay? So we're going to do that. So now, that means if I'm looking for A, we're looking for 0.07 of 613,850. And that ought to be... Oh, Mickey. I saw an Instagram reel on that recently, and it's been stuck in my mind for a while. 42,969.5. Good. Now, principal increase is just A plus the $20,000 payment. Okay. So now we notice the B is just going to be $20,000 plus that. Okay. 62,969.5. Now, C, just got to add them all up. From the previous year, we're adding B. $676,819. I didn't laugh at this because I'm mature. Reducing balance loans, it's the same thing, really. It's just, yeah. And I don't really care about this right now. I hope this helped. Well, guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you liked. I hope all is going well. Our trials are fast approaching. We don't have a lot of time. I want to make sure you guys are doing all the work, making sure you're doing trial papers, and most importantly, I want to make sure you guys are doing some preliminary content exam as well. A lot of the Year 12s often lack fundamentals with their preliminary content. I suggest that you guys do a couple of trial papers a week, but also, if you can, on THSC, try to do one preliminary paper at a time as well. Okay? I think 2019 James Roos one is a fantastic one to make sure you know your relevant content well and fluently, and otherwise you can just keep having a go at other things. Okay? But make sure to study. Feel free to email me if you guys are doing this. I hope this has been recording. I hope I didn't waste all that time to do nothing. But, okay, it has been recording. Always feel free to ask. Check me an email if you want to. Study hard.